But it always takes somebody like outside of an industry to come in and say, okay, this is how we move forward. Like the people who started an Airbnb, they didn't come from the hotel industry. If they did come from the hotel industry, they would see all the red tape on why you can't just rent out your house to somebody. Or Elon Musk didn't start working at Ford, or he wasn't like in cars. He's a tech guy. He's like, yo, why can't we just put some tech on a car and just make that joint go? If there was like executives at Ford Motor Company or I don't know, Honda or whatever, they would probably see all the reasons why you can't have a car run by itself. But because someone's not in it, they're outside of it, they're like, oh, why don't we just do this? So it's been a really, really cool experience. And I realized that I hired a lot of people, and I hired them because I had the money. But like, more people don't necessarily mean a more efficient business. It means like a less efficient business, because it's just more people. All right, welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast. I'm here, Donnie's here. We're gonna help you as entrepreneurs get through your journey. It's a journey of entrepreneurship, ain't it?
Entrepreneurship is a whole never-ending journey.
It just never ends.
It never ends. You know, it never even ends. Like if you sell your company, it just doesn't end.
Yeah. Why doesn't it? It should.
It should. Thank you so much, Father.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, there we go.
I feel like I'm raising you in this entrepreneurship.
You are raising me in this entrepreneurship space. You are so funny. What's the biggest lesson you learned from last week, Shans?
The biggest lesson I learned was that I am more capable than I give myself credit for. I really am. And I'm going through like team transitions and stuff like that.
Fun.
And I realized that I've been too reliant on people to do stuff, because I don't be wanting to do admin stuff. I don't be wanting to think about funnels. I don't want to be thinking about the connection, all that kind of stuff. But now I'm really digging in, and I've been finding so many holes in my business because I've actually had to do this stuff and get in it. So now I know how to more properly hire for what I'm looking for.
So tell me about like a hole that you've noticed that was really eye-opening for you.
So we're doing a restructuring. So I have a whole bunch of companies that like do different things. Like one company is the payroll company. That company is set up strictly to pay people. There's another company that's set up just for IP. There's another company that's set up for my real estate investments, but there's another company that's set up for my collaborative real estate investments, right? The restructuring, like you need, it's called intercompany agreements, because like my main company what has the money may fund something, but that's a loan to that other company. So you have to have these agreements in place. And for the last year, probably more than that, like none of the agreements have been set up. We have the org chart and the flow chart of what everybody's supposed to be doing, but it's almost like it's been taking a year to actually move forward. So now that the person that was in that position that was supposed to be doing that is no longer there.
Who's that?
A person.
Well, I was just trying to figure out what was their name?
It was a person.
Okay.
And no like knock or shade. It's
you would have just asked me that question, so.
Yeah, you can answer. I just don't have to answer it. You know what I mean? So now that I see it, like we're all on the phone, right? And someone says, well, we have to get all of the expenses. We have to get all of the expenses for one company to account it for another company, but the two companies are kind of the same. For instance, David Shands, like let's say David Shands is my main company where I do my coaching, consulting, and we have Social Proof, which is recording and things of that nature. I have to buy a camera for the Social Proof Podcast. But if I bought the camera from David Shands LLC, I can still use that camera because I need personal content to go sell the morning meetup or whatever, right? It's taken a year to figure out who does this company belong to. So I'm on the phone with these with the people, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't, because I can both make a claim that I need this for this company. And that's been a 6-month bottleneck on why this camera needs to be allocated to social proof versus the Creators Clubhouse, when we both still need the camera. And it's like, I think when people are really, really detailed, they're like mental blocks where we can't just get past it, because they're like, it's so rigid in their thinking. But I'm not like that. So I'm like, let's just move forward. And I'm like, I'm continuing to say on the call, listen, I'm not an expert. This is what y'all do, but I really don't think it matters where we have to go back 6 months to understand where this came from. Let's just allocate it to whoever bought it, because I'm going to pay taxes on the companies anyway. And these people, everybody's on the call, and they're like, well, yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter. But it always takes somebody outside of an industry to come in and say, okay, this is how we move forward. Like the people who started in Airbnb, they didn't come from the hotel industry. If they did come from the hotel industry, they would see all the red tape on why you can't just rent out your house to somebody. Or Elon Musk didn't start working at Ford, or he wasn't in cars. He's a tech guy. He's like, yo, why can't we just put some tech on a car and just make that joint go? If there was executives at Ford Motor Company or I don't know, Honda or whatever, they would probably see all the reasons why you can't have a car run by itself. Mm-hmm. But because someone's not in it, they're outside of it, they're like, oh, why don't we just do this? So it's been a really, really cool experience. And I realized that I hired a lot of people, and I hired them because I had the money. But more people don't necessarily mean a more efficient business. It means a less efficient business, because it's just more people, right? And I cut my payroll in half. I cut it by 60%.
Did you cut it?
Yeah, absolutely. I cut some people left, but I'm like, dang, I didn't really need that person. That's what's up. That's a few $1,000s a month that I don't have to pay. And we're still rolling. It's good. So
how was that process for you, having to cut some of your team?
I do not want to talk about this.
Entrepreneurs need to know.
That's a fact.
Yeah. How was that? What was that process like for you, having to cut some of your team?
I had to grow up.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more.
Be a man and say what needs to be said. But because I just don't. I don't like tough conversations. I don't like conflict. They're just uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But it's been a growth process, because it actually gets easier and easier to have hard conversations when you just decide to have hard conversations. It gets easier and easier. And through that, I've been having hard conversations with people outside of business, and it's just making it a little easier for me.
Were you coached at all on having hard conversations?
No, I read a couple books, watched some YouTube videos.
Y'all, let me just tell you guys this. Shan's had to have a hard conversation with someone on his team that we needed to let go. Shan's could not have the conversation. Shan's made me have the conversation. That's a fact. Shan's made me have the conversation, and then I had to relay to him how that conversation went. And he's like, wow, you're so good at that.
Yeah, she is good.
How do you just do that with a straight face? And you have to, as an employer, as a person, but especially,
yep.
As an employer, you have to be really okay with having tough conversations, or have somebody on your team. And that's direct insight to you as to what a COO does, because had you had a COO in place, that would be the person that you would lean on to have that tough conversation. Yeah. Because the CEO always looks good. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm always good. Oh my God, they had that conversation with you. Yeah. Oh, sorry that worked out that way. Right? So what do you do now that you know that you said you eliminated your payroll by about 60%?
Yep.
now moving forward, how do you make hiring decisions?
One, my objective is to either not do the hiring, find somebody to actually hire the person, because if someone else hires them, then somebody else could fire them. But also putting together some sort of fail-safe where there's a metric that needs to be hit. If we don't hit this in 3-4 months, then we'll part ways. And if we say that up front, it makes it a lot easier when 3-4 months, we didn't hit it. We can part ways. So
it's never that easy.
Well, I mean, this is something that I'm learning. If let's say a salesperson comes on and we're saying, okay, we need $10,000 a month in sales, and you're doing $5,000 a month. Well, it's an easier conversation. Yo, we tried it for 4 months, and I'm just giving an example.
For sure.
But it makes it a little easier that we are testing each other out right now. You're not super obligated because you might not like me as a boss, and I'm cool with that. If we have this term, like at the end of this term, we have a conversation, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but we'll both learn something. You'll learn something about who you really want to work for, or I'll learn something about who I really want in that particular position. So I'm committed to learning, and I'm sure I'm not going to do it all the way right 100% as we go, but I am so thankful for kind of the season that we're in right now.
Yeah. So I see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially as you're going from the solopreneur phase to now needing a team. I see a lot of entrepreneurs who go on this hiring spree. Oh, I just need to hire. And you really don't have any strategy for hiring or how you're going to utilize your team. And it's almost like having a big team is more of a vanity metric than it is a necessity or a strategy, right? Oh, I've got 15 people, 20 people, 33 people who work for me, and we're all going. And what I noticed in like the pandemic and even the years to follow, many of these entrepreneurs and some who have coached me, who's like, yeah, we've got this office in San Fran and we've got 65 people who work on staff. Now they've got 8 people who work on staff. The time of what happened economically forced them to first admit financially, we just can't continue to do this. We have to operate more strategically. And now they've got a team of 8 people who are getting the same job done. Profits are higher. Performance is all over higher because you're able to put more training and resources and infrastructure into a smaller team. Do you feel like when you were on your hiring spree and just hiring, do you feel like you got caught in the trap of the vanity metrics?
No, because quite honestly, I didn't even know how many people. I'm like, we just had, the number just kept growing. And I looked up one day, I'm like, dang, we got 15 people on staff. Then I started talking to my other friends. They're like, yeah, I got 4. I got 3. Yeah, it's about 5 people work for me. And I'm like, dang, you make more money than me with less people. Oh, but the cool thing is I don't necessarily regret it, because like we even made more money with the more people. My objective now is, can we make more money with less people? So I don't regret it necessarily. And I'm not afraid of like this recession that's coming, because we're just leaning more into creating content. And I believe that as we create content and we're not super focused on, I'm focused on content and community. Those are my only 2 things that I'm leaning into. If we're in a recession, I know that people are always going to consume content, period. People are addicted to content. I believe it's like selling drugs. When do you stop using drugs? You got to like really muster up the courage. You got to make a post. I'm going 30 days without social media. You got to make a whole little resolution to get off this drug. You know what I mean? And second is community. And I believe we're starting to see a lot of people are collaborating now, right? But we've been there. We've been like bringing people together. All y'all in the morning meetup, right? We're going to grow together. So that's my focus. I figure if it's cold outside, the more people together, the less we all suffer, because we're all not going to freeze if we're all together. and we can grow off each other and in the community. Like he's doing some work for us right now. He's in the community, right? I've paid Brittany and had her refer other people. Like I refer other people, so we make money. We just continue to circulate. So, I don't regret any of it though.
Yeah,
because I learned so much.
Definitely. I don't think that there is a reason for you to regret anything. I'm glad that you've learned.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad that you've learned. Y'all have like a significant other or a spouse and you're constantly saying, oh, you should do this, you should do this. And they're constantly saying the opposite. They don't do it. They never, ever, ever do it. Then they leave the house, go have lunch with the homie, and then they come back and like, I got this great idea. I need to do this. That's David. And I have been telling David, you should probably like be more strategic in your hiring. You should probably create like job descriptions. Get really clear on what these people are supposed to do. Dave, I don't think you need so many people to do what it is that you're doing. Well, what do they do? You should be a little clearer. Do you know how to access what they have access to? Now, somebody else goes and tells David, and he's like, you know what I've really learned over the last 30 days?
Nah, it wasn't no one telling me. It's like you're in a situation you learn. So you did. But I'm saying it's not like someone else coached me and I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Even though it's what Donni just said. It's like going through.
It's exactly what happened.
Right. Yeah, no, who else told me?
I don't know, but you're speaking so profoundly right now. Somebody has to be in your ear.
No, you learn. You don't have to have a coach. You get beat up 20 times. You learn some stuff.
Yeah.
You just learn by being in the fight. Like, you don't necessarily always have to have a coach teaching you how to swim. Jump in the water enough times. Get a little pool. Keep going to the pool. You'll learn something, right? What's crazy is I know how to swim backwards, but not forwards.
Something is broken with you.
It was like this like relaxing moment where I just jumped on my back and I was like, ooh, that was cool. It was like lasted like 2 seconds and then I like stood up again. But then it lasted 4 seconds, then 5 seconds. Now I could just float and go backwards. It's crazy. I just learned it. Nobody taught me. But I think that's why I'm so thankful. And yes, Donni did help me along this journey for sure.
David is broken.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. But at least I know it.
Yes. Most
people, in all seriousness, don't even know it. Mm-hmm. I feel like for me, I am especially in business, I am one of the most profound people because I don't feel like I got to put on no front. I don't got to convince y'all that I'm super elegant or I'm the best in the world at anything. I don't have to convince y'all. And I don't have that pressure. So I'm willing to go through the lumps and the bruises, and some people don't want to get beat up because they don't want to get beat up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only way to learn how to fight.
I think that's one of the reasons that our brands do so well. There are so many people who feel the pressure of having to be perfect. You have to have the perfect hair, the perfect makeup, the perfect white teeth, the perfect everything. And you can't let anybody know that you don't know something. You can't let anybody know that things aren't working out or that you made a mistake. And one thing that I appreciate from both of us is the transparency. Like, community comes so organically because we're real people who are building, like, we're 7-figure earners for the first time. We hadn't done this before. Like, we didn't follow a manual or any type of protocol. We're literally learning as we go. And the beauty about what it is that we do is as we learn something, it's like, ooh, okay, we need to tell everybody else. It's like, we'll go test it, dip our toe in the water, and come back and let you know it's cool to swim. I think that's really important in entrepreneurship. And it's an element that's missing in most people's brands. It's the authenticity and the transparency is a missing component in most people's brands. So ask yourselves, even if you're struggling to connect with people or customers or to build a community, ask yourself, like, how transparent and authentic am I? And that doesn't mean, tell all your relationship business and every time your butt itches or, whatever the case may be. But it does mean, like, the people who should be connecting to me, what level of transparency do they need from me? Do I need to be taking them behind the scenes? Do I need to expose parts of my personal life? Do I need to keep an arm's length distance in certain areas? Like, we're so transparent, but very private.
100%.
There's a formula to that. Very transparent, but extremely private. You know nothing about me that I don't desire for you to know. But you feel like you know everything, right? People feel like they know everything.
Yeah.
They know nothing.
All right, listen. Every single week, every episode, you hear me talking about themorningmeetup.com. It's the community. Let me show you what's happening here. Every single morning, Monday through Friday, there's 400 plus people on a Zoom call, right? We're learning, we're talking, we're growing together, and this is you. There's all these people here. It's all these people in the morning meetup. Hundreds of people reading books, growing. We get together quarterly. It's amazing. And for some reason, you just keep looking at, just go to themorningmeetup.com and get in the circle. And then you'll be like way happier. Just themorningmeetup.com. Let's get back to the episode.
Hey, you know what? I'm really glad we're going through this process of like overhiring when we have 15 when I really needed 8, instead of hiring 400 when I need 150. So we see like these major layoffs, right? People are letting go of hundreds of people. Woo! I'm so glad I'm learning the lesson. And if you haven't overhired, you're gonna learn the lesson.
Yeah.
It's just at what point?
Yeah.
So I actually, we were having a conversation and she was like, how do I prepare for an influx of customers coming in? You do what you can to prepare, but you won't be prepared. The only way you can prepare is after an influx comes and you realize, oh crap, this thing is broken.
Yeah.
I've got to fix that. So then you have another influx, that thing's fixed, but this influx is bigger, but then you'll realize, whoa, I can't handle this. But why can't I handle it? Oh, because I need these 2 things in place. So whatever you all are going through, you have to embrace it and just be glad that you're experiencing it now.
Yeah.
Versus getting 100 orders, right? You might be overwhelmed right now, right? I'd rather be overwhelmed with like 5 or 6 more orders that you can handle than something goes viral and you got 200. It will crash your company.
Whew, yes, it will. Have you ever been in a position, as you were telling that story, I'm just imagining being on a ship and your company is the ship and one thing kind of breaks, there's a hole in the ship and you like stick your finger through, the water's starting to come through and you stick your finger through to plug it and you're like, whew, okay, I can wait on a solution. This works for now. And then you look over there and another hole has come through and you're stretched this way trying to plug this hole. And then you see another one in a toe and before you're like stretched in all these different directions all at one time. Build your company gracefully. It's a wonderful thing to be able to identify and plug holes, which is, I think, essentially what people do when they're hiring. They're just trying to plug holes, just plug a hole, plug a hole, plug a hole. When eventually, as the ship continues to move and grow and expand, the plug is just gonna pop out, right? You've got to actually fix it. You've got to take that broken piece off, that broken piece of wood off, and you've got to put a new piece on and get that back together. And most people are running businesses just plugging holes. And in order to make that make sense for you, one lesson that I have learned is that you never throw good people at bad systems. That's essentially the same thing as just plugging a hole, plugging a hole, plugging a hole. And if you keep doing that, your business is going to explode, right? It's going to explode and then it becomes too late. So you have to really, really have a clear understanding of who do I need? And I always recommend minimal viable, meaning what is the least amount that I need to do or to expect to stay alive, to stay viable, right? Instead of saying, okay, we get 30 customer service requests a day or an hour, I need 3 people on customer service. Maybe not. Why are you getting 30 customer service requests at your level of business an hour? Let's fix what's broken. It's not just a person issue. It's deliverability for your program, deliverability for your offer, a fulfillment issue. Let's figure that part out. And you'll find that one customer service person is really enough. Because what ends up happening is, and I know that this has been my experience, we're plugging holes. I'm plugging holes and I'll hire a team. And then once I'm able to breathe a little bit and actually repair the broken piece, I've hired this person and I really don't have anything for you to do. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I feel really guilty about having to let you go. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, do you let this person go or do you deal with the guilt and continue to pay? And in my case, I have dealt with the guilt and continued to pay. Mm-hmm. But you really, really, really need to let them go.
100%. Yep, for sure. I had a conversation with another videographer yesterday. And I'm like, okay, well, we need someone pair it with Reese, kind of like side by side. And if we have another booking, they can shoot that while Reese is shooting this and things of that nature. So he gave me a number. And this is the exact conversation I had with him. Like, I was like, all right, well, that's a fair number, but I'm planning to put you here based on me marketing, getting more clients in, because I know I'm focused on getting more people to like book and things of that nature, right? Or like I have this one program. It's $5,000. We shoot your podcast. We do everything for your podcast, right? But I can't grow it because I don't have the other person in place. Now the person that I have, if we don't get any other bookings or I don't have anything else for him to do outside of what we need, I'm okay paying this number and not having to let you go. Mm-hmm. But the number you're asking me for, if there's not enough activity, I'm gonna feel like, oh wow, I don't have enough activity to pay the number that you want. And then eventually we're gonna have to have a hard conversation. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yo, I can pay this number and this will fulfill all the stuff that I need and have you do the other stuff as extra on top. So that's interesting you said that. I literally just had this conversation. Like I don't want up front though. I don't want to have to let you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was his response?
He was like, all right, cool, let's do it.
Yeah. Most people like
he's like, all right, bet.
Most people who need a job will say, all right, cool, let's do it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's another strong point to consider. Not just, do I need this team member? Do I need this staff member? Can I afford to keep them employed? Yep. Like when business is like, look at your trends of what you've done over the last 6 months, over the last 12 months, at your lowest performance, your lowest dip performance. If that were to happen again with this new person on team, can you sustain both company profitability and salary?
Yeah.
That's something really, really important 100%. To consider, because as entrepreneurs, sometimes we also like you have maybe more than, but right now as I'm thinking, 2 types of employers as small business owners like us in this room. Mm-hmm. You have the one that says, I am going to go and find the cheapest labor I can find and get as much productivity out of them as possible because, that's just what I feel like I can do. I'm a small business and that's what I do. And then you have the other one who says, no, I believe in paying people what they're worth. And I remember being on jobs myself and not feeling like I was being paid my worth, and I'm going to pay them max. So if market says that the salary for this position is $5,000, they're getting $5,000 or better. When you are looking at like salary reports of what you should be paying a person, you also have to consider that oftentimes these are Fortune 500s with multi-millions and millions and millions of dollars and budgets, right? And you're a small business that's knocking on the door of 6 figures, maybe even 7 figures, and your ability to staff and that company's ability that you're modeling to staff are very, very, very different. One thing, I don't even know how this turned into like a hiring conversation, but since I'm here, when you're looking to hire and trying to figure out staff, there's a couple of websites like salary.com. There's also like just simple as Career Builder or Indeed, where you can go and see what's being paid in the marketplace for this role. One thing as small businesses that most people aren't doing, and I would bet everything that you didn't do it, when you're putting your team together, and you probably still haven't done it, when you're putting your team together and you're deciding
just teach a lesson. You don't gotta attack me.
who you need. I've managed at an executive level many portfolios, and there is a budget for every department. There is a salary budget, but then it's broken down per department. So marketing, we are budgeted to spend, say, $10,000 a month. So if you bring in someone who's $6,000 a month on salary for marketing, then you only have $4,000 a month left for actual marketing fulfillment. So it's really important to put a budget together and determine, here's what I can afford to pay in payroll, period, and then break that down to say, per department, based on my market research, this is what I'm paying in each. It's not about how much you need to make. It's about how much I can afford to pay. And either you can deal with that, or you can keep applying for other jobs. Yeah. Right?
And before we start hiring people, we probably got to make some money first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you got to do what you can to go make some money. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think people are caught into the, working smarter and not harder, and you really just need to work harder. Or like make your hard work smarter. But like, we don't necessarily need a whole team. Like, you need to figure out how you can maybe systematize first a process before you even bring somebody on. You know what I mean? So if you have a very labor intensive, let's say for instance, you make bags, right? You make them by yourself? You don't sew them, right? But let's say for instance, somebody was like sewing, you make bags, you're sewing them and it's like custom order. The first thing we naturally start to think is, oh, I need to find somebody else to make the bag. Mm-hmm. Well, that may not be the best first step. Maybe the first step is to create 3 different patterns and people get 3 different patterns of bags. So you're making the same bag and maybe they just get to choose a different color. And if we only have 3 like styles or whatever to choose from, or like maybe there's like an add-on, you can have it with a pocket or without a pocket. That's just systematizing. So now I don't have to wait for somebody to put in an order. I already got the basis of a few bags. I can just put the pocket on this one. So now I'm systematizing my process where I can get more done and I can make more money because it's less to choose from. It's not 100% custom. And I'm not saying that's the answer, but we got to think of how we can be more efficient. And this is what I'm learning. How can we be more efficient where we are? And I like when I first started my business, that's what I had to learn. Like, I don't got money to pay nobody right now, but I don't want to work as hard as I'm working, but I ain't got money to pay nobody. So how can I make more money without paying somebody and having less time? This is like the triangle that I'm like focused on, and just fixing the system. And, it just gets higher and higher as a process. Like Donni said, not throwing good people at bad systems, making sure the system is best first and then put somebody on. So our podcast system is really dialed in right now. So I have no problem putting somebody in because I know what they're going to do. I've got the system down. And I can just pour more on it and we can create more content because the system is straight already. So y'all need to just go make some more money and figure out how to make more money by working less. Because if you work less, then if you work more, you'll make more.
Here's a question. So I know specifically about your journey and mine. Like in the beginning, we were hours upon hours upon hours, like no sleep, work,
for sure,
back at it again. I'm seeing now in a lot of budding entrepreneurs, it's like, okay, I want to start a business. I've secured my LLC, got my bank account, EIN number. I've got operating hours. Yeah, and I don't want to work this hard. Like, it's immediately, I put my website out, I put my website up, got that together, and I'm done. Like, who can I hire? How can I become more efficient? At what point, like, when do you think you should even start thinking about backing up and not doing as much work?
I think you should always be thinking about it. Not that the desire is to work less, but whatever amount of work you're doing right now, how can I make more money working the same amount of time that I'm working right now? That was my thought process, right? I'm not afraid of the hard work, but I don't want to work hard and hit a ceiling. I just want to, I want to work hard, but if I work this amount of time, if I'm putting in, let's say 50 hours a week, how can I make $1,200 instead of $800? How do I do that? Working the same amount. And then you got to like really think through that 60 hours that you're working, isn't 60 hours. It's like 12. Because a lot of filler time in there. And how do I eliminate some of that filler time? How can I eliminate, some of the elimination is not working and using social media at the same time. You ever be working on a project? So let's say, for instance, you're writing a book. And you're writing the book, but your phone is there, and eventually you find yourself on social media, and you put it down, and you write some more. You might have sitting there for 2 hours, but you probably did maybe 30 minutes of writing. And there needs to be some sort of, this is a process that I went through. I would have all these t-shirt designs, right? And I'd be looking at which design is best. It's really, really dope. Okay, I like this one. I like that one. I like this one. And then I'd send it to my friends. Hey, what you think about these 4? Which one you like best? And I'd send it to like 10 people. And that took a long time. Because then I'm having conversations with the people. They're telling me all the stuff to change. And I said, you know what I should do? I got these 4 designs. I'm going to have everybody come over to my house. And we're going to look at them on the TV. And we're going to have the conversation right then and there. Everybody's involved. Some people don't like what everybody chose, but I get the majority. And that took one evening of just hanging out with some people. So I just found myself going through this process. Let me just bring everybody here. Let's just have a conversation together. Because Donni might say, well, I like this, but I don't like that one. Brittany might say, well, I like this one, but I don't like that one. Then I'll come back to Donni and say, hey, a lot of people said they like this part of it. And he'd be like, well, maybe you change that. Then I take that back. I'm like, I'm still working hard to get it done, but this is one of my ideas on how can we be more efficient? How can we get more content out? So when y'all are here, and so Donni was like, instead of 10, we're going to shoot at 10:30. What did we do? We did Q&A. I'm not wasting no time. I'm here. Mm-hmm. If I'm here, let's work. What are we doing? This is more content we're going to throw on social media. And more people is going to tap into the Social Brew podcast. More people is going to join the morning meetup. Let's work. I'm not afraid of work, but let's just make sure the work is efficient as possible.
I like that. Efficiency is key. What have you found, Dave, to be your number one?
It's like an interview. This is good.
You like it?
I get interviewed a lot.
What have you found to be, not even all time, right now, what is your number one challenge as an entrepreneur?
My number one challenge. I got a lot of challenges.
Yeah, what's that one though that's like, if I could just figure this out, it would make everything else easier?
Hiring.
Really?
Yeah. There's still I need an executive assistant.
Okay.
I need another role I'm not going to say right now.
Tell me about it.
I'm not.
Okay.
I feel you'll be watching it. You know what I mean? I need this other role. And I actually went on, I went on onlinejobs.ph for one of the roles. And we got a whole, two of the roles actually, both of those roles. And we got a bunch of applications in, and I haven't gone through them. And then you sent me a bunch, and I haven't gone through them. And one of my problems is crossing over in terms of time management, because I have to allocate time to do that. But I cannot work when I'm at home. It's over. If my daughter sees me, it's up. Okay? She wants to play, period. But I don't like coming home too late. So all the stuff that I got to do it in a particular time window. But I think the other half of that is, man, I don't want to have to go through all these different personalities. Pick one.
You don't want to go through the hiring process.
Yeah, I don't want to go through the hiring process. And then I got to go through a hiring process of hiring somebody that's going to go through the hiring process of hiring the other stuff that I need.
So just knowing you, I don't think that you should be the first point of contact. I think
sure not.
That you should be a second or a third interview. So how do you solve that problem?
Yeah, but I mean, you got to still hire the other people that are going to do the first and second one. So I'm going to have to hire somebody that's going to like hire people, but I don't want to hire the person that's going to hire the people.
The only person that you should be responsible hiring is the one that's going to be working the closest to you.
Exactly. The executive assistant, right? Got a million.
Well, you haven't told me all the positions.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main one.
Okay.
Because there's so much stuff
that's
that needs.
the one set of resumes you just won't go through.
You asked me my biggest problem.
Yeah. So it's not, your biggest problem isn't hiring. Your biggest problem right now is sitting down and actually going through the information that you've requested and received like 3 times.
That's hiring.
No, that's prioritizing.
So let's say, for instance, but there's some things that we all like put off because we don't want to do the thing, and we'd rather just do the stuff that we're doing or the stuff that we like. So so in my mind, the hiring process is sitting down and going through all these people, knowing in the back of my mind, it's a possibility that I'm going to hire the wrong person and they're going to be a headache. Oh my gosh.
And then you just get rid of them and you
right. I'm telling y'all my biggest problem. Going. Okay. This is a challenge. This is the thing for me.
Yeah.
But I have to just do it. Yeah, Scott. Yeah, for sure.
You guys have to have a microphone.
Yeah, because then it's just
all.
in the pocket. Yeah, for sure.
You have to just do it. And that wasn't a bad idea to have a recruiter or a staff.
So, Neo has he's an HR department.
Yeah.
Right. And he said, "Yo, the HR department, you can hire that person, and they're like a few $1,000s a month." Mm-hmm. And they'll go through and hire everybody. So I guess that's staffing agency's core,
it's not
sort
a
of,
staffing
but
agency,
the HR, well, they would do that particular role. Mm-hmm. But they would create the policies and procedures, the handbook, the system, things of that nature, and they go through the hiring process. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
good stuff.
What's your biggest issue?
Did you have a question? You have a microphone over there?
Listen, if I was going to teach you how to make $1 million, would you give me 10,000? Like if I had a course teach you how to make $1 million a year positive, you're going to make $1 million. Would you give me 10,000? Of course you would. It's no brainer, right? So in a calendar year, we make 7 figures with the podcast. But there's 21 things that I extracted from that you're going to need to launch your podcast. But I only got time to give you 3 right now. One is you need a distribution platform. The distribution platform is what you upload your podcast to. That platform sends it to Spotify, Apple, Google Play, so that your supporters can actually listen to your podcast. You're also going to need a microphone. You need a really good microphone so it's crispy audio. And 3, you need an income strategy. This is not necessarily a hobby, unless you're going to make it a hobby. But I can teach you how I made the 7 figures with these 21 things. Now, the good news is you don't have to give me 10,000. My ebook is only $37, okay? So listen, go to podcastebook.com and get the 21 things that you need. And I can explain it in detail, all the things that you need, okay? Podcastebook.com. Let's get to the episode.
All right. No, I was just commenting, feeling your pain because I found myself in the same situation as far as hiring because I hired from my heart. Mm-hmm. Instead of from my head.
Oh, it's terrible.
And so
terrible.
And so everybody that came in, my other staff would be in the back like, hey, watch they come out with a job. And so they used to be picking on me about that because I hired everybody. I thought I was like Oprah, like, you get a job, you get a job. But anyway, how I ended up, I had to put, I hired part-time an HR person that came in as a gatekeeper. And she would, it was like work like 10 hours a week, and she would just review all the applications, resumes, and then she does the first and second interview, and then she finally bring them to me.
Good.
And I trusted her judgment over mine anyway. Because,
oh, for sure.
And so that was just because I found myself in a bad dilemma. Yeah. Had like 30-something employees, and my business partner coming and said, "Man, it don't take all of this."
Yeah, man, don't take all that.
Nothing. I'm talking about down to 3 or 4.
Yeah,
and did much more.
That's amazing. Yeah, Donni.
You could pay me a couple dollars. I'd knock that out for you. You could pay me.
I actually paid you one time,
Dave. You don't follow.
It was convoluted. No, don't say it wasn't. No.
It was a little convoluted.
Yeah.
But that's for a sales team that you still need to execute.
Exactly. So the way I was operating is I'll throw money at the problem, and I'm hoping the person who catches the money, solves the problem.
Well, at that time, you didn't have the systems or the offer to sell. You just wanted a sales team.
But you sold me you knew my situation.
No,
so it's actually your fault because you sold me a service. Nah, don't try to clean it up now.
I had to pay Dave some money, and he said, "Pay me the money less this." So when I'm ready for the sales team,
that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant.
That's
don't try to frame it like it's less. It's money. You owe me anyway.
No, I owe you the service.
Yes.
When you're ready.
I'm ready.
What software they're using?
If I knew the software, I wouldn't need you, Donni.
No, you need people. You're not hiring me for software.
I don't know so here's the thing. I know that there's something that I want to get done. Mm-hmm. So if I had the software and the system set up and you're just like going to find a salesperson and then you're going to trade, I don't know.
You don't need that?
I wouldn't necessarily have to pay you what I paid you. I'm thinking in my mind.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking in my mind, you'll at least tell me the things that I need to get this particular result, and then we'll go get them together.
Right. But our conversation was when I'm ready.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
It for sure wasn't.
Chance, we were on a Delta flight sitting in rows 2B and 2A.
Because I said, for one, 8 months ago, I'm running ads. I'm like, all right, Donni, we need these salespeople. You're like, all right, cool. But that was when, hold on, let me explain it. That was when, like, you were going through, like, what you were going through. And I wasn't pressing you.
For no reason. David said, if we're being totally honest, you said, I got to get clear because I feel like I am chasing money at this point. So let's just hold off because I feel like I'm chasing money and I just really want to be clear. Then what we talked about was, what you wanted the salespeople for was the mastermind. Mm-hmm. Well, the conversation that we've been having is, I don't know what I'm doing with the mastermind. We're not going to exhaust these resources and we're unclear.
No, but when I was heavy in the mastermind, that's when I said
you were only heavy twice.
But here's the thing, exactly. But that's what I needed it. So, but here's. You
were only heavy twice.
Okay, let me just make it clear. Okay, me and Donni do a podcast really, really good together.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
We are terrible.
We do events well together.
We do events well together for sure.
We do events well together.
But it's just because I think I don't know. It's just
I don't be wanting to bother him. Then he says he don't be wanting to bother me.
And then we get together and have lunch. We just talk about
random
life.
stuff. We be talking about life. But so when you were about to ask me what's my biggest challenge in business right now. So I don't know, but I know a couple of things that I desire to work on. Number one, I realize that in this situation, I'm just going to have to be the leader, right? I desire for you to be the leader.
I said that mad times though.
Yeah, I don't need to be the leader, but I see that I'm going to have to be the leader. So Shans, I don't think understands what that means from me. But you'll find out. Okay.
Let's talk about it. We're about because I said this to Donni the other day, and I was like, "Yo, if like I'll have an idea, and then I'll tell it to Donni, like, yo, let's do it." And now I'm realizing it's never gonna get done. Mm-mm. However, if I have that same idea, I'm just gonna go after. I'm just gonna go do it without the involvement of people. Then later I have to come in and say, okay, well, this is something that you do. She's probably the same way. If she has an idea, she's gonna go after it. But in terms of like us coming up with a concept together, I'm waiting on her to do stuff. She waiting on me to do stuff. And all this while, we're still running our own businesses. Mm-hmm. So that's, I always tell Donni, like, yo, I do a couple things well. I can promote something. I can make it cool. I can have an idea or a vision or how it's going to serve this market. But anything outside of that,
he does not do well. But you also like to be involved in the things that you don't do well.
Give me an example.
Right?
Give me an example.
So
that's not true.
That is true.
Give me an example.
That is true. So we were looking for the attorney for foundation for the nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
I find a company and I'm like, hey, I got a call with such and such on this day and time.
Yes.
Oh, I really want to be on that call, but I'm not available.
Lies,
I'm not available on that day. Oh, that's not true,
Oh
Shans.
my gosh, that's not true.
Hey, Shans, I found this company. I got the attorney figured out. I'm going to have an introductory call with them. Oh, I really want to be on this call.
That is not
I tell him
true
the day
at
and
all.
the time for the call. He's not available. So I rescheduled the call.
But what did I say? I said, if I can't do it, just do it. Because for one, it's not true because I've never gotten excited about a call.
You did. You got to
Oh my God.
We were so...
You are not telling the truth right now.
We were not able to find an attorney who could do the things that we needed them to do. And I tell Shans, I found this company, blah, blah, blah. I think I sent him the profile. He's like, ooh, I want to be on the call.
I'm about to
so I
find
tell
this
him
text.
the day and time.
That is
He's
definitely
like,
nothing I've ever got excited about.
Do you think that you could change it to this day and time? And I said, I'll try. I've been trying to get on her calendar already. And then you said, if they're not available, then just go ahead and do the meeting without me. Okay. Well, now when I'm ready, like in go mode, I'm in go mode. Let me just do. Now I have to change things and I'm no longer like in go mode. So
I so wish I could, because that is not true.
It was a phone conversation.
It's incredible how untrue that is.
That
and how
is so not untrue.
So she's like, yo, we got to find an attorney. So I think I call one and she's like, yo, I got another one. I'm like, all right, bet. Now where we are is she's like, yo, we like the attorney. I'm like, all right, pay the people. I was like, yo, we got to pay it. I don't have a card, but I just need the ACH information. Send it over to me. Donni never sent it.
That's not true.
And this is not.
I actually feel, hold on. Because I'm close to the conversation real quick.
Oh my gosh.
I think the first part that I'm talking about though was via text.
If you find a text of me saying, "Ooh, I want to be a part of that meeting,"
now you know that didn't happen. We were on the phone when that part happened. Hold on.
I want to find this so bad.
Yeah. That's the only time. Blah blah blah.
She doesn't have the receipts though. She 100% does not have the receipt.
The only thing that I have is when I actually sent her your information. But this is when we were already on the call. The other part was we were actually on the phone. Hold on.
I said, I 100% didn't get excited about a meeting. One thing I do remember is saying, hey, Donni, if I can't make it, just take it.
You did. You said that after asking me to accommodate your schedule.
I 100% didn't do that.
He 110%.
You know what's crazy? We need like someone recording us at all times. And you know what? I'm not going to talk to you on the phone at all anymore. It is going to be text messages because we need the record.
Everything has to be. We need timestamps and proof of every single thing. But I say to you on the podcast, reluctantly, but I say it. I understand that I am going to have to just do it and show you the bill later.
First off, you don't understand that. I told you that.
No,
you just come up with that as a realization on your own.
Things together.
But what did we say?
And it's just not going to work. But when I do this, I'm saying this. The reason that I'm saying this on the podcast because when I do it and you don't like it, don't matter.
Do what?
Whatever. Whatever it is. When I'm handling it, I'm handling it.
Yes,
and
I trust it.
That's it.
I trust it.
Done. We just did that on the podcast. But before we wrap up, we have a very important date happening this week.
Is it this week?
Yes. Oh, okay.
Probably not this week. It's probably not happening this week.
We have a very important date happening. And everybody, it's going to be Shan's birthday. It's his birthday tomorrow.
Tomorrow is relative based on when you're seeing this. Tomorrow is relative.
Whenever you guys see this, wish him a happy birthday the next day, okay? But tomorrow is David's birthday, and I have been like...
You got me a car?
Do I look like Dre? No. I have been racking my brain trying to think about, because in previous years we've like giving each other like super expensive designer stuff and, just I love that stuff. And I know you do too, but I also enjoy like really thoughtful gestures.
Nah, don't try to go cheap my turn. Nah, I see what's going on here. You try to go, normally it's expensive, but I want to go with something heartfelt. Nah, I need expensive.
Run me my high end. So I got you floor mats for the Tesla.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I did not get you floor mats for the Tesla. So, no, I've been like racking my brain and Dre.
It's not a bad idea, though.
Really? Father's Day. If you don't have that figured out, I'll hook it up. We've been thinking and trying to figure out like, what does David actually need, right?
You just ask me.
I don't want to ask you because you never give good answers. What do you feel like you actually need?
Yeah. Some Tesla mats would be cool. Maybe like not like an expensive one, but like kind of like a cheap piece of land.
What do you need from me?
Yeah, some little land. I mean, you can find some land, 60, 70,000 in Atlanta. Find something cheaper than that. Just ask me what I want.
You want sewage? I can find those and purchase those.
Or even like a fixer-upper.
Okay. So we're going to bring it down just a little, right? If you picked whatever you wanted, what do you feel like you need right now for your birthday?
An executive assistant.
Okay. So for your birthday, that wasn't on the list. I'll add it.
Ooh.
I will do the first interview with send me all the resumes. You have to actually send the resumes.
You have the resumes though. Well, you have a list
old resumes. Those people are employed by now.
I doubt it.
Shans, you just got new resumes.
Yeah.
Did you not enjoy any of them?
I didn't look at them.
Okay,
Avoidance,
so
for sure.
Offline, we're going to talk about it. I'll do the first resume. I'll review the resumes, do the first round of interviews, and send you my favorite candidates to do the second round. Set all that up, right?
That's a birthday gift.
That's a birthday gift. But what I'm also doing is for the rest of this month, I am treating you to David's self-care journey.
Okay. What does that look like?
And it's all kinds of things. Well, we're starting. So we're about to start.
I want that self-care.
It's
totally. I don't know how happy it makes me.
What'd you say? Oh, working out is absolutely self-care. But he's doing that. He's doing that on his own.
I'm
all self-care doesn't make you happy though. And that's like people, for some people, self-care are things that you actually need to express that you care about yourself. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to love the process. But these things that I'm doing for you, you're going to like. And I'm not going to tell you everything because each week you're going to have a new surprise. I just need a date and a time. We start on Friday. How's Friday at 11:30 looking for you?
This Friday? Morning?
11:30 a.m.
I'm shooting a podcast for somebody's gonna be on a network, so I'll be done by like 1:30.
1:30? You'll be done by 1:30?
Yeah.
No.
We start at 11.
Okay.
So I'm done by like 1.
Can you make an appointment at 1?
I think I can make an appointment. We gotta do something at 1? Well, no, it's not gonna be like an hour episode like that. It's just you might be able to make 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, your first thing, because you have because you sit in this illustrious chair and it's a really deep chair. I want you to be in your best shape and mobile and flexible, and we're starting with your chiropractic appointment. So you're going to go to the chiropractor. How long is it? 15 minutes.
So can we do 9 o'clock in the morning?
Okay. I already cleared his schedule and available times. So 1 o'clock on Friday.
You just did the 1 o'clock?
I did that yesterday.
How'd you know it was 1 o'clock? You said 11.
No. He gave me all his available times. See?
And you have anything earlier, like 10 something?
No, 11:30. I asked for 10. He didn't have that. So we got 11:30, 12:30, or 1 are our options.
I'll do 1, yeah.
Okay, 1 o'clock. So we're starting with chiropractor, but a couple of other things that you're going to do. We're taking you for a facial. You're going to get a whole little facial situation going on. Get up under that beard, get real comfortable. We're taking you, you're going to be treated to a massage, a 2-hour massage. So that's going to be really, really dope.
Massage.
You'll have 2 hours. You can either use 2 hours at once or an hour apiece.
Yeah, let's break it up.
Break it up. And we're going to do something about these and those. Those are just a couple of things, but I'm really focused. And for those of you who are wondering, Dre helped me come up with all these ideas because I wanted to do something that shows you how appreciated you are, right? Like, I know that you feel appreciated by your community all the time. But I really want you to know how appreciative I am of you and the doors that you've helped to open for me. David and I met. You guys can go back to previous episodes to see like the crazy way that we met and how the relationship has formed over the years. But you are a superhuman.
Oh.
You're a superhuman, and you're a really, really good man, right? You're not just a good person, but you're a good man. And it's important for people to understand that you love on people with integrity. You've never taken advantage of our friendship and our relationship. You've always like opened doors for me, and even doors that I didn't want to walk through. Like, he's pushed me through some doors. I'm like, Dave, I don't want to do it. Then we're going to do it. Right. And then even just like the accountability and making sure that I reach my goals and all this stuff, like none of that goes unnoticed or unappreciated. Like the way you let me clown you when you deserve it, like these shoes that you have on with this outfit, like you don't even get mad, right? And I just want you to know.
You were doing so good. You were doing so good.
David is there, like, to just shoot the crap and just talk about nothing. David has been there to talk about some of my most important life moments, some of my most hurtful and happiest life moments. David gave my daughter one of her very first jobs as an entrepreneur, working for an entrepreneur. Like, you've been there for some really major moments. And now we're here, we're doing this, and we're stuck together for life. And I appreciate you. And I think one of the biggest ways to show appreciation is to force a person who doesn't prioritize caring for himself into caring for himself. So there's that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the thing is, like, he doesn't appreciate any of this right now, right? He's looking like, chiropractor, nails. You have to do it, Dave. We are going to, and my accountability to you in the upcoming year outside of financial goals is to make sure that you're putting yourself first. Like, none of this happens without you. If something happens, I got to keep the Social Proof podcast going. And you know how hard it is to get me in the studio to like do content consistently. It's just that's what you want for this? Is that what you want? So we got to make sure that you are the man and you're staying in tip top shape and you're feeling good, looking good, maintaining good, aging well, and loving on yourself.
Awesome. I'm committed. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody here being here too, man. It's just, it warms my heart to know that that you're appreciated. Thank you.
You are. You really are. And I know, because we've had the conversation, I know that you take that for granted. And it's really hard to show, like, it's difficult to show appreciation outside of thank you. I appreciate you. And we all say, all they had to do was say thank you. But sometimes you do so much, you're really looking for just a little bit more. Like, because you go out of your way. You do things that you don't have to do. Like, you never had to include me on the Social Proof podcast. You would have been just fine without me. Now, sure, I came and I'm lit. You know what I mean? It worked in our favor, but it's nothing that you had to do. And so sometimes it needs to be more than just thank you. Sometimes it needs to be more than I appreciate you with words. And we got to really start showing people who extend themselves the way that you do, to not just me, to so many people. Like, you're consistent. You are consistent at being a good human. And so this is what we're doing.
Thanks. I appreciate it,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate that. That's what's up. That's a really good way to end off this podcast episode. And you know what you all can do that are watching? If you want to show some appreciation, join the morning meetup.
Yeah.
Okay? And literally, and it sounds kind of funny, but I think I'm gonna go live. Like that could be a birthday gift of people just like joining the community and investing in themselves, because the fact that we have like this many people in the studio, the energy is just different when like you're surrounded around people. And I really, really love the community that we're building. And 2023, we will be on the road.
Yes, we
will. The
streets. Nervous.
We will hit the streets and just continue to make the world a better place. So yeah, thank you.
And the other thing that you can do to show Dave some appreciation.
Here we go. Here it comes.
You can Cash App me. No, hear me out. Hear me out. You can Cash App me for the next 30 days to Donni Wiggins, DonniWiggins. Any kind of a love offering, and I will continue to add self-care activities for David to indulge in.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yep. So just Cash App me, Donni Wiggins. Put Dave or David or social proof as the subject. If you don't,
she gonna buy a bag.
Because if you don't, all the fillets and lobster tails I want. So Dave, David, or social proof, and I will continue to invest in self-care for the next 30 days for David. So we can start right here in the studio audience.
Y'all are amazing. All right. Yeah, good episode, yes.
This was good. Did y'all enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. Good.
Before we just like roll it out, can we get one or two takeaways? We got a large audience in here today.
Yeah,
like
ideally somebody that's on a couch so that we can have you on video. What up, B? What's up, man? All right, anybody? You got a takeaway? Questions, comments?
We need a mic right here. Was that one on?
Hello. Okay.
All right, go for it.
All right. So my takeaway is the hiring part. I was able to hire my first full-time employee this year.
Congratulations.
And one of the things I realized is I value him so much because he takes away the manufacturing part of the business. And I realized that instead of paying him we were paying like $13 an hour. And instead of that, I'm like, okay, I want to give him something. And I don't know if this is a lot, but I'm like, you would never make no less than $200 a week, no matter if our days are slow or our days are high. And he really appreciate that. But then it dawned on me sometimes he might only work 2 days. Is it worth the $200? So I contemplated on, should I pay him a minimum, but then pay him off of how many bottles he make each week, if that makes sense. So my takeaway is valuing your employees and giving them an offer that allows them to stay and feel appreciated. So
yeah.
Yep, good stuff.
Yep. Anybody else? One more takeaway?
Yeah, I have one. My takeaway is short and simple: work harder, smarter.
Yep, I love that.
You had one too?
Sure. My takeaway was just mostly like prioritizing your business, right? So I spend a lot of time helping other people financially with their business and growing budgets and things of that nature. And I've been feeling like, man, I'm putting out a lot of money here, there, or trying to figure out, but just trying to gain clarity on actually what I need before I invest into the next thing to help myself out. So
good stuff.
Good.
All right.
Let's wrap this thing up, man.
This has been an amazing episode. This episode is sponsored by David's birthday.
Yeah. Amazing.
And y'all know what to do. You're either joining the morning meetup or Cash Apping me and making sure that we're able to take care of David so he can take care of himself over the next 30 days. You'll find descriptions to our offers in the description box right under this video. Shout out to me. Come and see me on Instagram. Donni Wiggins _. That's all I got today.
Like, subscribe, share. We out.